Hi, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and this is a paid request for James. Thank you so much for that and for your kindness, James. I appreciate it. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in info box. I'll get to it as soon as I can. And for those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And pretty much this is, well, before I start, if anyone wants to request any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, video game playthroughs for an hour, a full playthrough, a tier list, a ranking, a reaction, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it. PayPal or Cash App is usually the best way to do it. Links are down below in the info box. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. Again, for those who sent them, thank you. I really, truly do appreciate it. But this is for the 1994 film The Air Up There, which when I got this request, I kind of smiled because I haven't seen this film since I was a kid, where my aunt would send us tapes of either episodes of shows we could not get, like Simpsons and X-Files, because we didn't have those channels, Fox and whatever. We only had ABC, CBS, PBS, and another form of CBS, 4 channels. And then, some movies like family films, because I mean Hollywood Pictures technically produced this, but that's still part of Disney, so in a way this still is kind of a Disney movie, just under the Hollywood Pictures subsidiary. Now, granted, the day watching it again, it's okay. I would call it a time waster. I do think Kevin Bacon has enough charm to make it worth a look if you like Kevin Bacon. And there's some fun stuff to it. I mean, yeah, all the jokes, they don't work. And honestly, this is one of those films that I didn't really laugh a lot of the times. I'm kind of just sitting there but I love basketball. I just never get the chance to see it nowadays. But I love basketball. I think, Kevin Bacon, I think, is charming. I like the guy who plays Saleh. I always pronounce it Saleh. Charles Ditondra Mena. I liked him. I thought he did a good job for someone who hadn't done this acting or whatever before. The basketball game, while it's predictable, there's a charm to it. But it did bring me back in a nostalgic way to the type of films I would watch back in the day. These family-friendly films like Operation Dumble Drop or Cool Runnings or films of that nature that I remember watching and enjoying when I wasn't watching Predator or Die Hard or Rambo 2. I was watching stuff like this because I liked a certain actor or actors or the gimmick or something else, and it wasn't too egregious where it was like tons of like dick and fart jokes and other stuff of that nature in terms of humor. And it's always weird that it's directed by Paul Michael Glazer, the guy who directed The Running Man, the guy who was Starsky from Starsky and Hutch TV show. And he did Band of the Hand, which I liked, with Stephen Lane. I think he did one film after this, and it was Kazam, which I'm actually surprised I was never requested Kazam. I think I did Steel with Shaquille, just not a commentary on it. But yeah, The Air Up There, this didn't do well when it came out. It came out in January of 1994. It debuted like at number 5. I think the top movie of that weekend was Mrs. Doubtfire. And you had films like Tombstone and other films that were still hanging on there a few weeks before. Pelican Brief, I think, was one. Yeah, they debuted like at number 5, and they only made like maybe 20 million. It cost like 17 million. So it didn't really do much, and I don't even know if this film has a Blu-ray. But I mean, if it's with Disney, then probably not, because they don't like putting that stuff on physical media. There's a lot of Hollywood Pictures. I mean, it depends, but I can name a few Hollywood Pictures movies that are not on Blu-ray. It wasn't Metro with Eddie Murphy. can't remember. Anyway, going off track. Okay. The plot of the film is Kevin Bacon is an assistant coach for this college basketball team. He knows the coach because the coach coached him back in the day. He really wants to take the position when the coach retires, but he sees that Jimmy, Kevin Bacon's character, he's not 100% there. This is early scene where this guy is the try to get for the team, but he's being a prick, a fucking dumb fuck. And said, well, I want this, and I want this car, and I want blah, blah, blah. Just being a dick. And Kevin Bacon's like, okay, yeah, make sure... I forget what the exact term is, like, I'll fluff your sip, you know, maybe I'll fluff your... I'll be a fucking fluffer, I'll jerk you off too, god damn it. What else do you want, dickhead? He doesn't say it that way, but maybe he should have. But yeah, it's a Disney movie, he's not going to say that stuff, but... Anyway... The guy makes a bet with him, and even though he's got this brace on his leg, he's still able to beat the guy. He has this thing called the Jimmy Shake and Bake, which I thought was fun. Again, I think Kevin Bacon, it looked like he had fun with this. It looked like he was, I mean, because he was doing serious roles. He was in A Few Good Men. What was that movie? Sleepers. Like, he was doing other serious fare, so this seemed like, okay, so he get to be the star of a film, change of pace, do a bit of comedy. I'm not sure how he feels about basketball, but if he's a basketball fan, even better. Although I read up somewhere that the trainer said one of the tough things he had to do was to try to make Kevin Bacon look like a basketball player. So, if that's true, then I guess that says something. But he beats the guy, but the guy doesn't want to be on this team, and so that pisses people off. He has a fight with the coach. There's this shindig where the coach says, I'm going to retire. And more than likely, you get the idea Kevin Bacon is not going to get the job. But he sees this video and this guy doing some stuff and dunking on it. And he's like, well, maybe this guy has something. Maybe this guy here worth a shot. And he goes there to Kenya because it's pretty much make it or break it. If this doesn't pan out, then he's not going to be the head coach, and I guess for him, he might as well quit or something. And then it's a fish out of water story. He gets on the bus, he can't understand the language. He's led around by people who either, oh yeah, there's a bus. Actually, it's not, it's late. There hasn't been a bus here since 1970-something. Or this one younger guy leads him around, and later on you find out he just speaks English the whole time. There's this fatter guy who's pretty much our villain in the movie. Oh, you want basketball? Here, I got basketball. And shows his team. You want this guy, right? He's like, no, I don't want this guy. Oh, you want that guy? From the Wanabe tribe? And they laugh at him, mock him. Him trying to find his way to get there. He gets there. Tossed to the guy. At least I do think the guy, Charles Gitanga Mena, I thought he worked well. Like, he pretended to be bad, to mess with the guy. Then he does this great big slam. I fooled you, didn't I? I thought those two worked well together. I thought they had decent chemistry. And Kevin Bacon it looked like he wanted to be there. It looked like he was having fun. It didn't look like he was sleepwalking or just taking a paycheck. So it just depends how big of a Kevin Bacon fan you are. Just, yeah, a lot of it does come off as predictable. A lot of it does come off as cliche. There's this woman who speaks his language, and she's a missionary and nun, and there's going to be friction, and they're not going to like each other. Then by the end, they start kissing, which I didn't buy, because I didn't think those two had chemistry with each other. So I think when they kissed at the end, that came out of fucking nowhere, in my opinion. It's like, well, I mean, other movies do it, so you better do it here. I don't think the movie needed that. It didn't accomplish anything by having that in the movie, that subplot, where she's bitching at him and saying, you're this and this and this. I mean, you didn't need that at all. You could have easily taken that out, and I don't think anyone would have missed it. Just not all these need some love story thing forced in there. The humor, like he's thirsty, so he drinks a lot of goat milk. But I guess he drank too much, so he's trying to deal with these guys on basketball. But he's always got to take the shit. Not that we don't hear like those fart sounds or anything. Sorry for titties out there. If you wanted those sounds, this doesn't have a lot of it. But there's a bit where he's trying to go to the bathroom, and a boar tries to kill him, and he gets saved. But he tries to shake the guy's hand. The guy's like, I don't want to shake your shitty hand. Which I don't blame the guy. And yeah, it's kind of the stuff you would picture in this type of movie. It's nothing too mind-blowingly original. I think a film like Cool Runnings works better because it's a team of people and you see how they interact with each other and how they grow throughout the film and how they become a team, and then you had John Candy put into that. And the show just, like, they're fish out of water, but I didn't think they were made as jokes. Like, they had tenacity and people respected that by the end of it to finish the race. Here, like, the supporting people, the supporting cast, you have the father that, no, you can't play basketball because you're my son. You gotta take over for me when I'm gone. And we're in trouble because people want our land and these minerals. And that fat guy talked about, he's messed with us and stealing our cattle. And later on tries to burn our village down during this wedding. There's his brother character who's working with the bad guy, and eventually he comes back to the right side of things. You have this bigger, fatter guy that doesn't seem like he'd be great on the team. He's a good defender, so lo and behold, he can actually shoot a basket. Like stuff that you've seen in enough movies, you kind of predict where it's going. They'll be down in points. Then there'll be this rah-rah attitude, and they'll come back and win at the end of the day. So it is fairly formulaic, is what I'm getting at. It is a very formulaic film that kind of hits the typical notes that you expect. And let's see, I can't really think of any scenes that I go, oh, that was a really funny scene, or that was a hilarious moment. I can think of a few scenes with Duddy Dud and other people and Cool Runnings and, other films of that nature too. But it's harmless. That's why I can't really get that mad about it. It's fairly harmless at the end of the day. And yeah, I think Kevin Bacon brings enough charm to the table that as a fan of his, it was nice to see him do this type of movie. I did like his character, and you see how he's always precious about this ring. And by the hand, this one moment, he throws it away. Just that's not important. About how he does get better as a coach and takes responsibility. I thought he seemed respectful to the African tribes. And Charles Ditondra Mena, his story is interesting and kind of sad, honestly. Because it kind of followed the movie where they were casting people for this part. The guy was 17 years old. He gets the part. Even though the film didn't do that well, critics did like him. They thought he had, as it says, warmly appealing, which I could see that. He got parts in a couple TV shows after, and then he went to school in the U.S. because he was in Kenya. He was in Africa. He went to the U.S., stayed there, and college opportunities. He did go to college. He played a bit of basketball in college. During the 1997-98 season, his team reached the NCAA semifinals. But then he decides to try basketball in Europe. He left the country to try for a team in Greece. It didn't pan out. And then he could not get back into the U.S. because of visa problems. So here he is, all this time he's taken into being a student in college, having a team, playing basketball. Maybe a few more time, maybe a few more years, he could have had a chance at the NBA. Who knows? You never know. But he took his chance, didn't pan out, and then he couldn't get back in, so now that was gone. He had to go back to Africa, to Kenya. Apparently in 2003, he was assaulted by 2 men on the street who stabbed him and hit him with a stone. He recovered. He had a broken jaw and other injuries. Then he had tuberculosis, which led him to depression. As of 2023, he still lived in the area. So he went back to Africa and never came back. Which is, I mean, it's a shame, man. That seems like he's finally being able to have a dream come true, and then things happen, and throughout these circumstances, he went back. So that's too bad. Almost gives like a bit of a depressing bits with the ending here. But I mean, to be fair, he's playing a character, so would you hope? And we see at the end, things work out better because he's on this team that Kevin Bacon's coaching, and they high five, freeze frame. Like I said, stuff like that, which may seem typical or cliche or cheesy. Again, that brings this bit of charm, nostalgic charm, where I remember films would do this kind of stuff. And that's the thing, is that when you see it all the time, you get a bit tired of it. But then when they stop doing it for 10, 15, 20 years, because it was labeled cliche, because it was labeled corny, because too many people did it, that's the thing, you leave it alone until people miss you, because how can I miss you when you don't go away? And now you yearn for it again, that type of movie. And that type of fun vibe to it. I know that by the third act, the father makes a bet with the bad guy. We're going to play a basketball game for land and cattle. I mean, granted, would all the... Yeah, I know. Would that really happen in real life? No. To base it on a basketball game. No, but it's a movie. It's a movie, folks. It's escapism. They don't have enough people, so Kevin Bacon has to be part of the tribe. To be part of the tribe, he's got to do this ritual and go up this mountain, the air up there, hence the title. He does, he succeeds, he throws his ring away, and then after that, he goes off and they have the basketball game, which I didn't mind it. I mean, I'm a sucker for basketball. I love the sport. Why Men Can't Jump is probably, I would say that's still my favorite basketball movie. Eddie, I did not mind with Whoopi Goldberg. There's other films dealing with basketball I didn't mind. But I love the game, so Space Jam, of course. Not so much the sequel. So like I said, because I'm a fan of that stuff, because of other aspects, I didn't mind it. I think it was harmless. Yes, cliche. Yeah, typical. Did it do anything new? No. Was it hilarious? No. I guess it depends if you're nostalgic for that type of movie back in the day, you may find a bit of charm to it. Yeah. It was nice to watch this again. I will say, it was nice to watch this again after not seeing it for so long. So. And again, I did quite like Kevin Bacon in the film. Thought he did a rather good job. I always thought he was a great actor. Stir of Echoes, Tremors, Flatliners, quite a few films he's been in. Always liked, always enjoyed. He was good in that Patriots Day that I reviewed not too long ago with Mark Wahlberg. So he was definitely the MVP of the film for me. With that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.